to show how to use this.
Are you on a Mac right now, or are you
No.
decorating your Windows?
No, this is Mac, the Mac for Linux.
Can you zoom the viewport so we can see that part of the window better? Or?
Oh, yeah, is that better?
A little better. I can't read it in text from here. It's just barely out. Okay.
So I'm going to start from making a frozen penguin in a simple world. What I mean by frozen is he's not going to move. I'm not going to bother animating him because that takes way too long. So then, go to the side viewport, go to flat mode, space, add mesh, UV sphere. Add edit mode. You can get cheat sheets, I guess, of the Blender hotkeys, which are very important in Blender in various places. Good one is right here, the hotkey and mouse action reference, which is somewhat outdated, but it's built into Blender, so it's pretty good. And there's a search function in that, which is the main attraction in that script. So now, I'm just holding Shift and the middle mouse button to pan around. Scrolling the middle mouse button, holding it down and moving it without Shift or anything. Back to 1. A to deselect. These are, hopefully you know 3D vertices, objects. Flat mode. So this is just a sphere object. It's just a mesh object really with a sphere in its data. And I'm going to select about right there. Maybe right there. Zoom way in. I want that one right there. And turn on smooth movement. Basically, what this is. G. Scroll button back towards me in order to get it bigger, and then Z in order to go up and down. And then that's about right. I don't want out of it. Deselect everything with A, and then hit B, and now I'm dragging box select. Now S to change size. Shift C, everywhere but up and down. They're a nice, kind of goofy looking Tuxish penguin starter. And then I'm going to delete half of this. X to delete. That was B. Click and drag. That's just a bug in mine. I'm going to add, and I went over here. This is the buttons window down here. There are all kinds of buttons and properties of various types. I'm going to add a modifier and a mirror. And now I can edit one side and the other will be copied for me. Select right there. That's back good. Control, I'm holding Control and then I click, click, click. And that's pretty goofy. Add another modifier to change it. Smooth, basically. Subsurface smooth. That's what it looks like so far. Add one. G. No, oops, I still have smooth editing on. That's bad. G. And there. Now I've got still kind of goofy looking penguin arms. Tuxus. And this penguin is not meant to look good, it's just an example. Okay, now I'm going to add another object. A cone. Going to 3, 5. Right now I'm going to hit Z to go to wireframe. So you can see what I'm doing. Go back to edit mode. Scale, Shift C, and you can see it's. Again, you can find the hotkeys in many places online and inside Blender. I was actually going to print out a sheet of them, but I forgot to. Fine. So now, that's where the pivot point. On the median point, you see how there's a lot more vertices down here than up here. If I hit scale, it goes down that direction. It's not acceptable. I want to make this shorter up and down. And so I'm going to change to the 3D cursor, that little red thing. So now, it doesn't matter how many there are there. I can just see, changes. Back to normal object mode. Rotate. Hold Control. Oh no. Rotate 90 over there. G. Put about there. It looks like that. It's starting to look like a penguin, not just a funny sphere. Okay, back into the side view. Now I'm going to add a Q for the feet. Scale it up and down. Scale it along X, Y. And I don't think there are any creatures that have feet going across their entire body like that. Move it. No, I want to move it up and down in this mode. Back to edit mode. GX. Holding down Control to get it to snap. Shift D to duplicate. X to string. I have box feet. I'm going to add smooth to that too. So sort of levels up. There. Now I have a penguin that solid mode with Z. And you can see that he's chunky. Just set smooth to fix that. Smooth. And it's going to look kind of goofy on his feet, but that's set smooth anyway. There. Looks best from back here. Okay, now I need to select these. Control. Wait, no. Can't do that yet. I've got to apply the modifiers. No, not that one, but this one right here, mirror. I've got to apply that, or else when I add this and this into it, they'll get mirrored too, and that's not what I want. Select those in an order. I'm holding Shift and Control J. And select the meshes. Now it's one object. So now I can just select the one thing, hit G, and it moves. G is wrap. Shift C, and then let go and hit C to recenter the view. And now I have a penguin.
I have a question. Like, if you want to get all your original objects back, is that possible?
What do you mean?
After you merge all your meshes.
Oh, well, yeah. It depends, really. If you have too many vertices and you get lost, then you can't really select the original objects to separate them. But if you can, like I can here, I can just hit Control plus a couple times to select the whole thing. So now it's just the B like it was, and I can hit P to separate it back into another object. Yeah, but it's not always, but in this case, yes, because it's simple. So now I have this penguin. I want to use it in the game engine. So I can start the game engine by hitting P. And that really doesn't look all entertaining. I'm not going to be playing this for hours. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to go into texture mode, which doesn't look cool yet. I'm going to add a lamp, move it up, GZ, add a texture. Now we can sort of see that he's starting to look sort of real. We're still ways away. But let's turn this into a ME, so now we can see more.
Is this just a light source?
Yep, just a light source. I can add a number of different kinds of light sources. And so now I want to paint his eyes and belly on it. So I'm going to add a UV texture, which is a mapping of 3D space into basically a 2D space. And that takes these planes and it spreads them out like cutting a box into pieces and laying it out flat. And so add a new one. I'm going to split this to get an image editor, change the type of window, go into edit mode, select everything, image, new, nice big image. Now I need to use the auto unwrap, which is like cutting up the box. use unwrap smart projections. There are different kinds of unwrap modes. I'm going to leave those for you to look up because it's about the game engine. Texture paint. Oops. I also need to connect it to the image. And twice actually, because I'm using the big graphics. I need to connect it twice. Map it to UV. Set this. So I made this material which controls just the shading, which is to make it look less reflective, more reflective. So go back to point A. Make it shinier, not shiny. Back to point 2, I think it was. So now I need to have this texture that changes the coloring across the surface. And I set it to the type, these two, this is material and this is texture. So set the type image, set the image to black. Now we can see it. Turn down the influence of color a little bit. So we can sort of maybe see it. Front view, flat mode, texture point, paint, we're all ready. Yeah, let's give it some nice. Control Z a couple times because I didn't like how bright that was. So I turn up the opacity here, and this is the editing context. It's shading. There, now we can see his eyes. Make a nice ghost look. There. And then I'm going to select this. Okay, that's kind of spread out. Now, I want, this is not the best way to do this, but I'm going to just paint orange onto his beak. Increase the size. 3. Control 3 to get the other side. You see it's showing up over here. 7. It's fairly good. Scraping down there, I can fix that in a minute. And there, it's pretty good. Beat. That's about all we'll ever see, so. Okay, now he's really looking like a penguin. It's a bit of a creepy penguin, but a penguin. He's got a belly. Turn down. Make it sharp because penguins are puffy. There. Nice penguin belly. That penguin there. So now I can go into the game engine. Hit P. He still looks like that, but he doesn't do anything. So now I need to add all the logic and physics to make it do stuff. And this is where things start getting fun. Because I go over here to the logic area. They're called contexts. And right now he's at the static, meaning that he basically won't do anything in the game engine. If I set dynamic, hi ducks. So I'm going to add another object so that we can have dynamic. Not plain, I want GZ bigger. And add material. See it. Okay, now if I hit P, we will fall onto that. If you notice, if I go into flat mode over here, P, he goes, he just bonks. It's going to look kind of goofy, and I can turn him upside down. His head goes into it. This is because his bounds are just a sphere that's that big. So his head, you wish you can. His head is outside the bounds of this sphere. It's just a radius, and so it doesn't work. We use convex hull, which is basically approximates the outside and uses that. Now Ducks falls on his head, and we don't want to be mean to him, so I'm going to turn him back right side up. So now I don't want to just fall. I want to be able to steer him. So I can do that with these are sensors. And 4 of them, 1 for each key direction. Key up, down, over, and the other over. And for controllers, they're not going to do any processing, they're just going to send it right through to actuators. These are going to do motion. Oh, that was one too many. So that's 4 actuators. Connect them up. And now I'm going to connect this up arrow to, it's going to look really weird, but jump, basically. Play. And can hold up. Whoa.
That would be the booster rocket feature.
So you gotta be careful with the values you set in here because they can do goofy things. And when you're trying to make a real game, putting in 3,000 into the, it's a bit more reasonable because it's real physics instead of just moving him. That puts a force on him. This right there exerts a force, whereas this one, it just moves him, just straight moves him up a certain amount every tick, basically. And so I'm going to set, I'm actually going to use this one that just moves him. I'm going to guess, let's see, which way is forward? Let's see. So forward is y minus. See, there's the 3 axes, x, y, or x, y, and z. And so he's facing along the negative y. So I'm going to set that every time I press up, he moves that much along y. This is x, y, z. This is x, y, and z, and then it's the whatever column it says. So now goes up, and it doesn't care that he's not on the ground, which is the game I'm making, which is Mario-ish, makes sense. Although in real life doesn't really. So now, point 1, so I can go backwards. I can't go sideways yet. And rotate along C, so that means he'll go around this way or this way. And I still don't remember which way is which, so I have to guess every single time. That's backwards, so you turn it this way. There we go. And that one is, there we go. So now, I can steer him. With the arrow. And I can't jump, and I can't kill him. Well, I can't kill him. It just falls off the edge, and it just goes forever.
So I have a question. As he's rotating, his axis is still, in front of him is still y negative, right?
Yeah.
Right, that's what you're saying.
Yeah. That's pretty important. It's this local. There's the global, and if he turns global will not change. I can show what happens if you do that. I shut off local for forward. So now I can still turn. Going backwards still follows me, but when I hit forward, no matter which direction I'm facing, because it's the global y, go that way.
So local is the object's
Yes.
orientation. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Now I'm going to make a couple more blocks. I'm Shift D, Y, Shift D, X, so things to jump to. Get a nice view. So now I want to be able to jump. Okay? And so I'm going to add keyboard space is my jump key I want. It's actually possible to configure, to make a way to configure these, but that uses really in-depth Python, and for beginners, that I would not recommend it. Not until you've practiced some with this part here, and simpler Python. So now I have this motion again, and space, and there's going to be a problem with this. I'll show you what it is in a minute. Now force, just up like it was, only it's not being same this time. 250 is about right. Play, let's see if that's right. single tab. It's a bit high to jump. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the problem. If I hold space down, it flies away because I haven't set any limiter to make sure he's on the ground. So I'm going to use Control Up arrow to maximize this window because I'm running out of room. I'm going to add a ray. I'm going to do a -z, so that's down, and the distance 1.2 approximately. So it's going to have that. No, I don't want another. This is N. So now this is the first beginnings of real logic. Is if both of these are active, only if both of these sensors are saying yes, then does this activate that. And so now I can't jump insanely. And that's a bit too little. I spaced them too far apart, so I'm going to do 750. Let's do 3 times that jump. I can't tell if that's any better. Yeah, that seems to be better. So now I can jump from platform to platform. And maybe you've noticed the problem with all this that is still showing. Well, for one thing, he bounces, and it takes quite a bit of logic to get around that, but I'm talking about shadows. There aren't any shadows. That's to do with lighting, something called GLSL. Probably haven't heard of that, but you may have heard of pixel shaders, which is GLSL is Blender's way of talking pixel shaders, basically. And so I need to copy this lamp, Shift-D, and right-click so I stop moving it. Now, if you notice that when I right-click, there's still 2. Because basically what Shift-D does is it copies it and then immediately puts you in move mode. And so if you cancel the move, then you only cancel the move. It's already been duplicated. Which is, I use that on purpose. But now I have a spotlight. Spotlights are the only things that will do shadows. So I'm going to move it up some. Shift to tux, and press Control P to make it follow him. And then I'm also going to make it so that it is only shadow. So I don't want light, I just want shadow.
How do you set your camera angle like on him, like so it's not just one certain camera angle, so you can almost follow him?
You can add a camera. We'll get to that in a minute. But I'm showing there. Now we have shadows. Follow us. No, we can tell when he dies. Add camera. That's a good thing to get you now. Okay. Now I can hit 0 and I will go somewhere. I'm inside this camera. That doesn't really work because it's inside tux. So I can move it up, G, Z. There, that's a good height. Now if I hit 0, we're facing down, B's pointing that way. So up is that arrow. So rotate Z 180, type 180 I think. And now it is facing about the same. GY. Rotate X. Oops, I'm still on 3D cursor. Rotate X. Now Shift. Control P. Make it follow him. 0. P. This is not the best way to do camera. Your Frankie does it much better. But now I have a camera that follows him.
What does your Frankie do that you have done here? Is it just funny?
It has some logic so that when you run into so when the camera is inside something, it moves forward, and it has some logic, so, well, not logic, but some trick, basically, hack, to make it so that if you, when you turn, it follows smoothly instead of this jerky thing that this quick fix has.
So now if you walk off the side, the camera will follow you down.
Yep. And it will never come back. It just sits there. No matter what I do, you can't tell the difference anymore. So, okay. Now, things to push and bounce on. I can add a cube, say G Shift C. Notice that since that's the spotlight, G Shift C again. It's only, I can almost see the shadow of where the spotlight is. And basically I've got to add another spotlight for the cube in order to get around that. Add a material so you can see it. Set to dynamic. Let's go into the camera with numpad 0. And I can push it. And Tux, because I'm using the instant move, Tux bounces off of it. The game has to try to compensate for Tux being moved into it, which is what happens, and then it moves him back, and there's still force moving him back when he stops. So the way around that is that this instant move is really not a good idea. I was just showing you. So now minus 10 is about what I want for that. Then 10. And I can turn up the dampening, and maybe turn that up some more to 40. Yeah, that's back up. No, dampening's not high enough. Damping makes it so it slows down much faster. Because penguins don't really slide. Whoops, that's too high. And then, well, we'll pretend he's on ice. There are ways around this, but they're not horribly easy. Now, I'm trying to control penguin on ice, but he doesn't bounce back, and it doesn't really save him when he falls off the edge. So I'm going to address falling off the edge now. Well, actually not for a minute. Then there's also, if I set this to a rigid body, that means it can rotate. Dynamic just means that it can fall and move around, but it can't rotate unless it tells itself to rotate. Like this is. And I forgot I was on ice. Oops. There's a really big problem with the boundaries thing that I showed earlier where his head was going to the plane. I need to set this bounds box. Play. There we go. If you notice, when I was in dynamic, it didn't do that. It just slid. That's ridiculous. Real life would never do that.
It's got gorilla glue.
And so that's. However, Mario would never do the real life thing. When Mario gets to the edge, you know, he stays up like that does. And so Tux, I'm leaving on dynamic because I'm doing the quick version of my big game that I was showing. Whoa! Yay! I am going to die. Actually, I'm not. Cool. So.
What are the specs on your computer?
It's a Pentium 4, 1.5 gigahertz, 512 megabytes of RAM. The graphics card is AGP NVIDIA GeForce 6200, 512 megabytes of RAM.
It's a very modest spec, so you can run a game on this modest specs.
If you call that modest, it was a pretty big upgrade for me. So, okay, the catapult. So now, well,
You got a little while.
Okay, so I'm going to show. Now, I'm going to save this. Home/Blender.
25. 25.
So I want to stop.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to save it home/Blender/Tux. Save it. And now I can open. I want there we go. This is my practice thing that I made, and for what I was going to be making here, see, Tux looks a little different. It doesn't have eyes. Make it big with Control Up arrow. now, this is the Yo Frankie-ish smooth camera like the other game had. You can see that it looks much nicer than that sudden. So now I can jump. This doesn't look quite realistic either. But I made something to grab. So now if I hit control, then everything messes up. Because, but you can see that it was grabbing it. You can see what happened. It's grabbing it. You can see the box up there that appears above his head. Grab it. Now everything's moving a little bit. And it multiplies.
So that box above your head is just an indicator you made?
What?
The box above your head just like indicates whether you grab it?
Yeah, that's all it is. So then a little thing that doesn't ever work because the payload floats away. I'm using the instant move thing. You can see the problem going up this bridge. I go up, I'm slowing down. I have force the other way when I'm done. So, yeah, a little bit early, but I'm done for this. I want to get into Python, but I ran out of time. So that's for this. What?
Couple of books.
Oh yes, the books.
You want to give them one? Yeah.
I'd like to do drawings.
Well, you can always ask what people have on the badge.
Is there a list?
No, just do it close to this number and I'll do it. Ask them the other.
Okay. $227. Yes. Does anybody have 227?
Who's closest to 227?
247. 27.
227?
Right here.
Do you want the Essential Blender or the Blender Game Kit?
The Essential Blender.
And then for the Blender Game Kit, second edition, CD in here? Yeah, CD's in there. Let's see. 130. Yes, close to 130.
113?
Are we closer than 113 to 130?
Come on, there's enough people in this room. It's only a set of 650.
169.
Oh.
That's 71, that's way too low.
430, then way
So
too
much
high.
for probability.
Well, I made these numbers up, so there's no way it could have possibly been random.
Thanks.
Okay. So, any questions? Question and answer time, right?
Is everything, is it written in Python itself, or is that
No.
just how you interface?
It's written in C, and it's just used in Python embedder library to use Python.
Does it have hitboxes? Like, can you make hitboxes in it?
I don't know exactly what a hitbox is.
Like, if you have a fighter, right? If you're having a fighter game, like one-on-one fighter game, the hitbox is the actual person. So when you say hit that or whatever it does.
Oh, it decides what part of it got hit. It's not built into Blender, but it's plenty powerful enough for you to make your own. With Python, that's when Python starts coming in.
So you can put in network calls in your Python to do a network game?
Yeah, actually, the game kit has quite a bit about that. That is possible, but I've never done it because it's not very easy. I mean, you think about the logic of updating.
So what you were doing before was easy.
Relative
Clear.
to relative to what you get into when you try to do networking, very easy. Yes.
Is there any way to export a game that you create in Blender so that it can be run standalone?
Yeah. You can't make closed source games with the internal exporter because as long as you're making your Blend files, they don't consider that part of the program. It's just derived words, right? And so you can do whatever you want with that. But as soon as you pack it with the save game as runtime, that actually puts part of Blender into the executable file, in order to run it, and then you have to GPL your game if you do that. There are other players, but I've never tried them. Because I don't make any closed source games. Oh.
Like, is there like a way to like get like your own like movie mapping on in there?
Well, yeah, that's what I was.
Like I mean like.
Oh, a custom one?
Yeah, like for Photoshop or something.
Yeah.
Texture.
Oh, from Photoshop.
Like
You
texturing.
You want to export it to Photoshop and edit it there?
No, like texturing. Like if you created a texture in Photoshop.
Well, if you create a texture in Photoshop, well, you're not going to be using Photoshop. You're going to be using Canva. Hint, hint. But yeah, this is the image editor. You can in edit mode. This is the UV mapping. You can somewhere UV scripts. Save UV face layout. Saves an image. I think it's a SVG image that you can then import into a drawing program as a layer and draw on that. And you can also move these manually.
Can you bring a texture into Blender? Can you, like, if you say the texture saves as whatever file, can you bring it into Blender and set texture say you're playing with it?
Image open. So this is a screenshot I took on my screen a while ago. Oh, there we go. Should have used replace image. There. Now I can play the game engine and I have this goofy looking screenshot here. And those funny black lines, those are because of the shadow. I have the lamp really far away and really angled. And the farther away that it gets, the more of those show up. And you see they disappear as it gets closer. And then, since I have it set so low angle, that it disappears completely. But
I've heard some talks lately. I haven't actually heard the talks, but the talk of the talks that people are using Blender to edit their videos now. Have you played with that at all?
Yeah. You have the video sequence editor, which is a sequencer, do blending effects, fades. Then you have the node editor, the render compositor. That's way too complex for me to even do as a demo for here, but it's really powerful, almost on the order of Adobe After Effects.
What kind of objects do you have access to through Python? Is that everything?
Well, right now it's actually from inside the game engine, I assume. You mean? Yeah. There's I wrote some logic to save and load. This is you can access anything you have in an object. You can access scenes. You can access special properties of lights and cameras. And sensors, actuators, controllers. There are game properties, which is just class properties in Python. Well, actually, they changed the interface, but I'm not going to. And so it says a deprecation warning anytime you try to use it as a class property. And yeah, there's a couple others, but those are the main things that you use. Plus, you have the entire Python API anywhere it's installed.
And so do they offer classes? You can inherit from a light source, for example. You just have to know what to call it.
And the printer is very helpful when you're the GE. What that is.
How long have you been playing with Blender?
Oh, I should be getting. Just break it ready. I've been doing it for about 3 years now. Is that right? It seems about right. Yeah, it's about 3 years.
Is it easily componentized? Like, can you work with? How easy is it to work with other people on the It's not all in one file, but you can take the penguin in this file.
Yeah,
and
there's a append or link. Append copies from another file, link references another file, and then it loads that blend file, and finds the object in it. It uses basically a database lookup system, I'm sure. In order to find it, when it finds it, it then loads the data into memory and uses that, and then so yeah.
Is it compatible with something you make in Maya?
I will almost guarantee that it will not work now. Blender 2.5, that's very important. Blender 2.5 is, in theory, going to have much better importers and exporters. Blender 2.5 is the kind of pie-in-the-sky-ish next version. They keep bumping the release date farther. It's not a really official release date, which so
So
makes
it'll be
sense.
ready when it's ready.
Yeah.
That's what the Blizzard thing going now.
Christmas. Just not this year, maybe next year.
Well, I have an SVN checkout of it that I built, and it works. Actually, the one I'm going to use isn't the one I built, but it's almost finished. It occasionally crashes or does weird things, but it looks really cool.
Christian, have they moved the release date past the end of October? Or, I mean, November, excuse me?
No, I'm pretty sure it's just in November. But when I found out about it in the beginning, I thought it was going to be next week from now. And so that's wrong now. So
when you export your files, can they run on, like if you made a game, can it run on any platform? Or is it?
The blend files will run on anything that Blender runs on it. Anything it can be compiled for. But in order to export it for a platform, you have to compile and then in the file export as runtime, whatever that is, safe game as runtime. That actually takes the compiled. That's what Blender Player is. If you see that in your Blender download, Blender Player is what it packs, and so that has to be compiled for the system you will run on.
And the person running it has to have Blender installed also?
No. The packing it is what does that.
And so what does Blender run on?
What is your packed from?
No. So if you what targets can you hit? You said it.
Oh.
Anything Blender can be
anything
built on. What's that?
Has OpenGL basically and has the standard C libraries that So this is Blender 2.5, and it's got this cool looking. They would probably get angry at me if people made this for doing this horizontal version, because they may have a vertical version by default, but I hate it because I got used to this one. And so I said this is default. This has some weird bugs. New. Oh wait, this is the wrong place. Where's that? There we go. Try to zoom in. Heck, there we go. There's the crash. It does this really weird thing. I can't pan when I hold the middle mouse button anymore. Can't zoom in or yes I can. This goofy. This is not finished yet, but it looks much cooler than even the Blender I showed did. Windows Subdivide now it's just a click and drag thing. So. I think I basically have time to show you Frankie. Actually, there it is, right there.
You have enough time. You have about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Oh. Wait a minute. Oh. Dang it. Let's see. Blender game engine, it was exported with the savings runtime. Oh no, I have pixel shaders on. It's going to take forever. No. If anybody has any more questions.
Is there a user group for Blender?
No, actually, yeah, I need to mention that. Me and Steven, I just know you by asking Clay, are going to be starting one in the near future. So check on probably just UTOSC or UTOSC. Probably get Clint to put it up.
Do you guys hang out on IRC?
Yeah, I'm one master.
And I hang out with Blender.
So I can jump around and it looks all shiny and shadows and everything.
Did you make this?
No, this is the Blender Foundation's creation. It's like the Open Movies, Big Buck Bunny, and Elfenstream. If you've heard of those, this was the third project. Only it was a game. And that's why the game engine is so powerful now, because they did this. They had to upgrade the game engine to do it. That looks really weird compared to what I'm seeing. I'm trying to pick small levels so it won't overload my graphics card.
Oh, really?
And why is your connection speed at home so bad?
Because of Wi-Fi. One of my graphics cards are all it's going like frames per second. See the bump mapping on the rocks though, for normal mapping, it's not bump mapping. You can see that it looks, well, it would look good if my graphics card wasn't sad. So, that's Blender and that's your Frankie.